If you are planning your Kumbh trip, considering the latitude and at that time of the year, finding ways to go beyond this is what Kumbh is. This is a profound understanding of the 12.25-year cycles of the sun. Our bodies of the five elements dominated by water. Over 72% of our body is water. So if you're in a place where there are churning waters at certain times, considering the latitude and at that time of the year or at that time of these 12-year cycles, the relationship between the planet and the sun, it creates a powerful situation where one can transform themselves. A lot of studies have been made on the previous Kumbh and they found phenomenal physiological changes in people who stayed there for over 40 days and every day they were in that water. A Kumbh Mela is supposed to be for 48 days. That is, people should stay there for 48 days. Every day in the river along with that sadhana. This is part of the Bhuta Shuddhi tradition where the fundamental process is to cleanse the elements in the system and water being a major part of it. Water is considered very important for health, well-being, prosperity, whatever we are seeking in our lives. So these 48 days has particular specific sadhanas where people stayed there and went through this process and came out fully transformed because they made use of the natural forces to transform the quality of oneself, not just physiologically, even spiritually.
According to Sadhguru, Indian culture is the most complex and colorful culture on the planet. You will see the way people look, their language and food, their way of dressing, music and dance, everything is different every 50 or 100 kilometers in the country. One place where you can really see the complexity of this culture is the Kumbh Mela. Most Indians are unaware of the depth of mysticism and spiritual process that has happened and continues to happen in India. This land has always been known as the spiritual capital of the world, simply because no other culture has looked at the inner sciences with as much understanding. Here, liberation or mukti has been the highest goal and even God is considered just a stepping stone towards that. The Mela happens every 12 years, which is one solar cycle and is a number that is significant on the spiritual path. The Kumbh Mela is an enduring icon of India's priceless spiritual heritage.
But today people are going just one quick dip and out, that's a different game. There may be some benefit, we don't know, but it's too brief. When I watch people, they just in and out in 3 minutes. That is too brief to have any kind of major impact except maybe an emotional involvement. I know you can't take off maybe right now, make up your mind in 48 days, but if you are planning your Kumbh trip, at least plan minimum 3 to 7 days so that you are there, do some sadhana and benefit from that process rather than make a ritual out of it. It is not a ritual, it's a scientific process. It's just that science has been lost and practice has been carried on, that's all that's happened. It's time to put back the science because only then we will benefit. It's time we approach these things with little more understanding and meaning to it so that one can really benefit rather than simply making a ritual out of it. For those of you who are thinking, what has it got to do with me? Because I live in an air-conditioned home. Well, to put it in a very fundamental way, if our mothers' bodies were not in sync with the cycles of the moon, we wouldn't be born. Yes, we wouldn't be born. So the cycles of the moon and the sun has a profound impact in the way we are. Acknowledging this, celebrating this and finding ways to go beyond this is what Kumbh is what yoga is in many ways, to break the cycles of life. When I say cycles, anything that's cyclical is bound to be repetitive. If something is repetitive, that means it's not getting anywhere. This most people realize when they're close to their deathbed, that when they look back and see what looked like great things when they were doing it, when they look back and see, it doesn't mean a thing. Those who look back and see are those who die and regret. But if you look ahead and see what you may do tomorrow, what you are very passionately waiting to do tomorrow, actually doesn't mean a thing, then you would look at life much more profoundly. The problem is not passion, the problem is not involvement, the problem is entanglement. The nature of entanglement is always cyclical. So these cycles are determining everything about the human being. If you're living in a physically, mentally very healthy state, your system will go through 12.25-year cycles.
To receive free tips on food, health, diet, lifestyle, and Sadhguru's upcoming programs, you can join us on WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram, or follow us on Instagram and Facebook by clicking on the link below.